Seri is now joining us from Ukraine. I'm being told he's a reporter joining us for the very latest. Seri, did you get a chance to hear US President Joe Biden and President Zelensky's address? If you could break it down for our viewers as well.
Yeah, I think it was a quite good speech from President Zelensky and from President Joe Biden. It was quite optimistic, and all the future thoughts. It's great that all the future thoughts of Ukrainians and United States, they are gathering the whole world to truly assess and truly describe to the president of Putin that he was dead wrong. I agree with President Biden for sure, as many Ukrainians.
And what about President Zelensky's address as well?
President Zelensky, just as usually, he mentioned that we don't need lots of talks, we need weapons, we need the support. Ukrainian militaries will do their job as the best as they do it before.
Right, and at that point of time when the war was going on as well, how would you say that Ukraine received support from America? Was that enough or more could have been done? Because what I'm picking up right now is that there was a lot more that America at that point of time could have done.
It's better to ask the militarians who are straight working with the American structures and with the supporting organizations, with the militarians, with non-militarians, with government and non-government organizations, for sure. But we can see it now in Ukraine, in Kyiv. It's a good weather. It's unfortunately air siren, but economic is working. Everybody, like, they're working. They're not afraid because they believe that the air security will do their best, and we will see the past attacks, past missiles that were before during the past year, unfortunately.
All right, Abhishek Bhalla is also with us. Abhishek, Biden has emphasized about the broad bipartisan support in Washington for Ukraine cause, even as there was resistance that was coming in, if you remember, from Republicans as well for further assistance to Ukraine.
Well, a couple of key takeaways, Chaiti, from the address of US President Joe Biden. One, that in a few days from now, there will be a fresh announcement of new deliveries to Ukraine. So what this means is that Ukraine will be in a position to continue fighting against the Russians. A clear hint that this war is not going to end anytime soon. And the other aspect that he touched upon was that in the last 1 year, US has been successful in putting together a coalition of countries to ensure defense of Ukraine. Now, this again is a big statement considering the developments in the last 1 year. And there has been a lot of talk in US to further enhance cooperation to the Ukrainians. There are some Republican voices that are saying that the Ukrainian fighter pilots should be trained on US fighter aircraft like the F-16. So how far the US goes from here onwards to continue with its assistance of Ukraine will decide the future course of action, and in fact will decide what the future lies for this war.
Absolutely, and rather very crucial visit right there. You know, when you see these visuals as well, Abhishek, you can see the rapport between the two leaders as well, speaking volumes of what the future of the relationship between the two countries is likely to be. Abhishek?
Well, Chaiti, in the last 1 year, the kind of help that has come in from US, it's mind-boggling. More than $113 billion already pumped into Ukraine from the US alone. This does not include the assistance that come from NATO members or the European countries. So the fact that US President touched upon a coalition of countries is something very significant, because remember, Russia has been insisting on the fact that they were ready for negotiations. This was about 7-8 months back. But with this visit and once again the thrust on continuing with assistance in terms of military aid to Ukraine, it's becoming very clear that this is a never-ending battle, and this war doesn't seem to be coming to an end anytime soon. When the war started, there were experts talking about about the fall of Kyiv within a week, within a month. Then it was 3 months, 6 months, and now we are into 1 year of the war. And I think by now it's settled that this is more of a stalemate. It's not as if the entire country of Ukraine is under attack anymore. There are tactical battles that are happening in the eastern part of Ukraine, some in the southern part. In fact, there are claims and counterclaims every day that are made. Russians say that they have managed to hold on to some critical positions. On the other side, we hear a Ukrainian narrative saying that the Russians have been pushed back. They've faced major casualties. So this is something that we've been hearing for the last 7, 8, 9 months now, and it seems that it's going to continue like this.
Absolutely. And in terms of how Ukraine has fought back, and time and again Zelenskyy has also mentioned how Ukraine has fought back. It is alive, it is kicking, defeating Russia in the battle for minds of the world at least. Abhishek?
Well, Chaiti, information warfare has been a critical aspect of this war, and that's something that the Ukrainians were good at from day one. They had upped their game in coming out with information before the Russians could know how to set the narrative. The Ukrainians had already moved ahead with the narrative. There are several examples of these. There were videos early on when the invasion happened. There was talk about why the Russians have not been able to use their Air Force. I was in Ukraine for a long part in the initial phase of the war, and as far as the narrative setting was concerned, the Ukrainians were far ahead, and that's something that they are continuing. Once again, big thrust on the US assistance to Ukraine definitely means that it's going to rile up Russia. Russia definitely knows that this is their own battle, and they had been insisting that there is a lot of assistance from the US and from NATO members, even though Ukraine had pulled out of being part of NATO perhaps within 1 week of the invasion.
Yes.
But since then, the fighting has continued. There is a limited conflict, if one can say now. It doesn't seem that the Russians will come back in the manner they did in the initial phase to take down Kyiv. But as far as the eastern part of Ukraine, the Donbas region is concerned, that has turned into a permanent battle zone.